4 a.m. is not just a time on the clock. It is a moment that separates the people who wait for opportunities from the people who create them. When the world is sleeping, you get a rare silence where nothing demands your attention, and no one expects anything from you. In that silence, you finally hear the truth about yourself. Your doubts, your dreams, your fears, your potential, everything you usually ignore in the noise of the day. Successful people don't wake up at 4 a.m. because they have nothing else to do. They wake up because this hour gives them something the rest of the day cannot give. Complete control. Control over their thoughts, their energy, their direction. At 4 a.m. you are not competing with anyone. You are competing only with the weaker version of yourself. The version that keeps delaying life. The version that keeps waiting for the right moment. But at 4 a.m., you realize the right moment is never coming, you create it. Most people think discipline is something difficult or painful, but the truth is discipline gives you freedom. When you wake up at 4 a.m., you give yourself a head start, a quiet head start that sets the tone for the entire day. You think clearer, you plan better, you move with purpose. While others are still asleep, still confused, still complaining, you've already entered your next chapter. And that creates a difference that people can't see at first, but they feel it later, when you start growing, rising, getting sharper, stronger, more focused. They'll call it luck. They'll call it timing. They'll call it anything except what it really is. Consistency in the hours no one is watching. 4 a.m. teaches you something the world never talks about. The world doesn't reward the loudest voice. It rewards the quietest effort. The effort you put in when no one claps for you, no one motivates you, no one even knows what you're doing. Successful people protect this hour because they know this is where their power is built. The breakthroughs, the big decisions, the courage, the clarity, it all begins here. And when you taste the peace of this hour even once, your life starts to change. You stop chasing people. You stop pleasing the world. You stop proving yourself. You begin choosing yourself. And that is where real success begins. Not in achievement, but in awareness. When you rise at 4 a.m., you start noticing how different the world feels. The distractions disappear, the noise melts away, and your mind becomes a place where ideas can finally breathe. There's a purity to this hour that makes you honest with yourself. You can't pretend. You can't hide. You can't escape from the reality of what you want your life to become. And when you face yourself with honesty, your life changes. You begin to see what you must let go of. Habits that drain you, people who confuse you, thoughts that weaken you. You see the truth that daytime hides. You realize that the reason successful people protect this hour is not because they are stronger than others, but because they are brave enough to confront themselves before the world confronts them. At 4 a.m., you don't need motivation from outside. You don't need someone to push you, remind you, or encourage you. Your own silence becomes your guide. Your own breath becomes your anchor. Your own determination becomes your inspiration. This hour teaches you how to depend on yourself, how to build yourself, how to trust yourself. And once you learn to rely on your own strength, the world loses its power to discourage you. You stop taking failures personally. You stop taking setbacks emotionally. You stop letting people decide your worth. You grow beyond the version of yourself who needed validation, who waited for approval, who feared judgment. You start becoming the person you were always capable of being. Focused, intentional, unstoppable. But the most beautiful part of waking up at 4 a.m. is how it reconnects you with your purpose. When the world is quiet, your dreams speak louder. You can hear the passion you buried under responsibilities, the ambition you hid behind fear, the courage you silenced with excuses. You remember who you were before the world told you who to be. That remembrance becomes fuel. It becomes clarity. It becomes direction. And when your purpose becomes clearer, your steps become faster. Your decisions become wiser. Your discipline becomes natural, not forced. You don't wake up early because you have to. You wake up early because you want to. because you can feel your future calling you before the sun even rises. There comes a moment in your journey when you realize that waking up at 4 a.m. is not about productivity anymore. It's about identity. It's about becoming the kind of person who refuses to live life on autopilot. When you choose this hour, you choose intention over chaos. You choose growth over comfort. You choose your future over your excuses. Every morning you rise early. You send a message to life itself. I am not here to drift. I am here to build. And life responds to that energy. Opportunities appear, not because they were never there before, but because you finally became still enough, focused enough, brave enough to recognize them. That is why successful people never miss this hour. They understand that discipline rewires destiny. As days turn into weeks, you begin to notice subtle changes within yourself. Your mind feels lighter, your emotions feel calmer, and your confidence grows in ways you didn't expect. You gain a quiet strength, the kind that doesn't need to be displayed or spoken about. It shows in your decisions, in your consistency, in the way you carry yourself. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop chasing people and start attracting clarity. You stop fearing failure because now you know failure only exists when you stop trying. And waking up at 4 a.m. becomes a reminder that you haven't stopped, that you are still moving, still growing, still choosing yourself every single day. Eventually, the world around you begins to notice your transformation. But by then, you don't need anyone's recognition. You wake up early not to impress anyone, but to impress upon yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. You look back and realize that the success you see today was not built in the spotlight. It was built in silence, in darkness, in hours when no one was watching. You created a version of yourself that no longer needs to be pushed, validated, or rescued. You became your own strength, your own guide, your own inspiration. And in that moment, you understand why successful people never miss 4 a.m. Because it is the hour where ordinary ends and extraordinary begins. There comes a point in your life when you realize that the world will never slow down for you, so you must slow it down yourself. And that is exactly what the 4 a.m. hour gives you. It gives you the pause the world never does. It gives you a moment where time doesn't feel like a race, but like a companion. In this hour, you don't feel pressured, you don't feel compared, you don't feel judged. You feel like you finally have space to breathe. That breath becomes strength. That strength becomes clarity. And clarity becomes direction. Most people wait for life to give them peace. But successful people create it. They choose silence. They choose stillness. They choose the hour that gives them calm before the chaos. They don't wake up early because life is easy. They wake up early because life is demanding, and they want to be prepared for it. Each morning you choose 4 a.m., you leave behind a version of yourself that depended on motivation and step into a version that depends on discipline. You realize that true power is not loud. It is quiet. It is not dramatic. It is consistent. It is not shown to the world. It is built in private. When you commit to this hour, you start feeling responsible for your own future. You stop blaming situations, you stop blaming people, you stop blaming time. You understand that as long as you can rise before the sun, you can rise above anything that tries to break your spirit. And once that mindset enters your life, nothing remains ordinary. Even small habits feel meaningful. Even small efforts feel powerful. Even small wins feel like proof that you are moving in the right direction. What makes this hour sacred is how it changes your relationship with yourself. You begin trusting your decisions, respecting your boundaries, protecting your dreams. You become kinder to yourself, yet stronger with yourself. You stop tolerating what drains your soul. You stop allowing what weakens your spirit. You choose people who bring you peace, not noise. You choose goals that bring growth, not pressure. You choose paths that bring purpose, not confusion. And this transformation doesn't happen in the middle of the day. It happens in the quietest seconds of the morning when your heart speaks louder than your fears. And one day, you look at your life and realize you are no longer the same person. You no longer needed approval to feel worthy. You no longer need company to feel understood. You no longer need validation to feel powerful. You have built yourself, disciplined yourself, sharpened yourself in hours no one saw. You realize that the world may never witness the work you put in at 4 a.m., but they will definitely witness the result. And in that moment, you finally understand the truth successful people have always known. The hour you choose determines the life you live. And 4 a.m. is the hour that chooses greatness.